Cyber attacks have come to pass. In 2015, Ted Koppel said cyber war is simply a part of the landscape. And in 2016, John McAfee said a nuclear war cannot approach the level of devastation as a cyber attack. In 2020,
a new warning tonight about the scope of a massive cyber attack.
Already believed to be the largest cyber attack on our government.
Software provided by the company SolarWinds, which is widely used by U.S. government and industry, was hacked. In May this year, 2021, a nearly 9,000-kilometer pipeline between Texas and New Jersey, which transports nearly half of the U.S. East Coast fuel supplies, was also hacked, and its operations shut down. Now it seems even more true today.
Any computer can be hacked. The older the computer, the easier it is to hack that computer. And what do computers do? They don't just access the internet and do our taxes. They control steel mills and food processing plants and virtually everything in life, including our cars now. Last year, a car was hacked into by two hackers hundreds of miles away, and control was taken away from the driver. But let's assume there's something far more important than automobiles or even airplanes that can be hacked.
You can search the web with real and organic search results and do it without anyone tracking your activity or data. We ourselves use Atlas VPN to protect our data online. Atlas VPN is more than just any other VPN. It blocks all malicious links, ads, and trackers, and notifies you when someone is trying to spy on or steal your data. If you want to grab Atlas VPN, they have a great deal going on right now for just $1.70 a month and 6 months extra for free. We've provided a link in the description you can use to grab this deal. Try it out with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Not only does it protect your data, it also keeps your searches completely private. Also, protect unlimited devices at once. No limits are set. One subscription only for the best price. That's why we use Atlas. Oh, did we forget to mention it saves you a lot of money booking online? It's that easy. Grab Atlas VPN using the link in the description and secure your data today.
What about power plants? In America, our power grid is approaching 50 years old. 50. And our computers are 20 to 25 years old, way before cybersecurity was even considered as an issue. So what if someone said, oh, instead of hacking your cell phone and stealing a credit card, I'm going to hack the power company and move all the power around until it blows out all the power stations? And I think, oh, that's a serious problem. What if it blew out every one? We'd have no power. Without power, we can't repair them. We don't have power tools. Without power, we cannot process food because all of food processing is automated and controlled by computers. Without food, we die. If we lost our power grid, 90% of all Americans would perish within 24 months. I think that's optimistic. How can 10% of us live in a situation with no food and no fresh water? We're not used to going out and hunting and fishing for our food. Now, sure, those that can, have a better chance of survival. But they're going to have to compete with a lot of hungry people, many of them armed. But seriously, what could be worse? A nuclear war can't possibly approach that level of devastation. I don't care how bad that war might be.
We have some 3,200 electric power companies. The biggest of them, the wealthiest of them, have taken security preparations to protect them and their customers against the likelihood of a cyber attack. The smallest have not. The problem is all these companies, all 3,200 of them, are joined in a network so that if someone attacks one of the smallest, one of the weaker companies, they can, with the proper kind of preparation, work their way back through the system, thereby also attacking some of the larger. Once you're without electricity, you're without the capability of heating or cooling your home. The water supply is going to stop in the sense that it requires pumps which are powered by electricity to get that water into the various apartment buildings, into the flats throughout the city. The worst part about that is not merely the fact that there wouldn't be enough drinking water available, but also the fact that you don't have the capability of disposing of human waste. Within the matter of just a few days, that becomes a major crisis. What's really frightening about the possibility of a cyber attack on the power grid is that the experts believe that the power could remain out for months. I think it's all but inevitable that it's going to happen in the next 10 years.
How would I describe the sense of security? Well, we have none. There is no security whatsoever. I think this is the problem that cybersecurity professionals like myself face every day. I see people walking around, everyone has their phones out. While you are watching your phone is watching you. This is just a fact of life. The operating system is designed specifically to watch you, listen to you, find out where you are in order to help you. It needs to know who your friends are. It needs to know what you're saying in your text messages. It needs to listen to you sometimes. And so you're looking at your phone and you have all of these facilities, but it is the world's greatest spy device, designed as a spy device. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as the person spying on you is spying on you for benign reasons, meaning maybe they just want to sell you something. They notice that you just mentioned to someone that you were hungry, and they know where you are, and there's a Chinese or a Japanese restaurant nearby, and they know you like Japanese and Chinese food because you frequently go there. And they say, oh, by the way, there's a Japanese restaurant right around the corner. That's cool. I can choose to say no. But hackers use those same facilities. They are built into the operating system. So if a hacker gets access to those facilities, they may choose to empty my bank account without my permission or knowledge, or to steal my identity, or to start charging things on my credit cards, or if I have a Bitcoin wallet or an Ethereum wallet, they can empty my wallets. That's the problem that we have, and that's just on the individual level. On the corporate level, it's horrific because the problem is magnified by the number of people within the corporation. And on the nation-state level, it's even more horrific because the nation-states have been spending years and literally billions of dollars weaponizing software to the point that almost every developed nation has the ability to press a button and destroy the power grid in any other nation. This is the facts. This is not science fiction. This is not me being paranoid. And perhaps I am paranoid, but what I just told you is real, nevertheless.
So you are speaking about various problems, right? What's the solution?
Well, actually, I'm not even talking about virus problems anymore. I think the antivirus paradigm is no longer functional. It doesn't work. I said this 10 years ago, and I'm the person who invented it. So people should listen. I mean, if I invented it and I built the first antivirus company, viruses are not the problem. By the time hackers have planted malware in your system, it's way too late. Hackers spend weeks, months, or sometimes years sniffing around in your system, taking what they want before they even plant malware. And sometimes they don't. I mean, unless you're trying to ransom something, like a hospital, take all their data and encrypt it, and say for $100,000 you can have it back. You'll need malware at that point, but by then it's too late. Because by the time you found the malware has already done the damage. See, this is the problem. It's a reactive paradigm, and we have to become proactive.
How do we do this?
Well, from a technological standpoint, I'm personally developing products that focus on identifying the hacker, not the malware. By the time the malware is there, as I said, it's too late. So, but you can find the presence of a hacker in your system so easily. And every hacker has to go through certain steps in order to break into any system and do damage. The first thing they have to do is get through the firewall. After they've gotten through, and all firewalls have holes. It's impossible to build a firewall that can keep out all hackers. It just can't be done. They have to get through the firewall, and then they have to find out where they are. And so what's on this net? So they sniff every device on the network. That's an anomaly. That's behavior which is not normal. I mean, who does that? Nobody. So just a very simple hardware box with very simple software would be able to at least identify that much. If you're watching all the traffic on the network and you see, well, someone just came in through port 80, well, that itself is strange. No one comes in through that port, but they did. And then they sniffed the refrigerator or whatever's connected. If it's the Internet of Things, remember, you might have a refrigerator on your network. Refrigerator, everybody's workstation, the main server, and all the honeypots in my device. Well, that's crazy. So within a matter of seconds, I can then send an email or a text message to the CIO and say, a hacker just came in, or what looks like a hacker. And that's only one of the types of things that hackers do. There are many thousands. So, and I'm not the only person working on this. There are, others that see the insanity of what we're doing and are doing similar things. So we have a device coming out in just a couple of months called Sentinel that will identify within a matter of seconds. Now, we're not going to do anything about it. That's your job as the CIO or as the network manager. We can say there's a hacker in the system that came in through port 80, this is what they're doing. We will continue to monitor them. But you have to make some decisions as the human being. What do? You could call the authorities. I mean, I wouldn't advise that because your business will be shut down virtually because the authorities will be running around and your employees are going to be watching and no one's going to be working. You might just simply shut down port 80 and forget it. Maybe he'll come in through another port later, we don't know. If so, my box Sentinel will tell you about it. So isn't that more sane? Because it's the hackers that are doing the damage, not the software they've created. The hackers create that software. It's the hackers we must concern ourselves with. We've been fighting the end product of what hackers have created rather than the hacker himself or herself. So the proactive approach, and there are many products that we're working on that do the same thing, where we're dealing with the human element rather than the product of what the human has created.
Where does education stand in this whole equation?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing, everybody in this room should educate yourself about these little devices everyone is holding up and carrying, because they truly are spy devices. You have people, I mean, I've even heard people at Google say that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Well, I've never heard anything crazier. And who among us has nothing to hide? I'm serious. It's not, do you have something to hide, but what is it that you're trying to hide and from whom? Think about this. Everyone exercises a different degree of privacy hundreds or sometimes thousands of times per day. I just met you. I'm not likely right now, especially with everybody watching, to tell you the intimate details of my life. It's like if I go to the store and buy some nice Romanian beer, I don't tell the clerk what I did last night in my private hours. No, we have very restricted lines of conversation. The weather, politics maybe, the price of potatoes, and that's it. You meet a casual acquaintance that you see every week, you might divulge more. Maybe you have a health problem you want to talk to them about. A good friend, you might divulge almost everything. And to your spouse, to your wife, or to your husband, you might tell them everything. Unless maybe you're sleeping with your wife's sister, in which case you might choose not. So do you see what I'm saying? So that if everybody knew everything about everyone else, we would have chaos in the streets, beginning with a rash of people shooting their spouses. So it's insane to say if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. We're all humans. We are living in an imperfect world. You know, we each have love and compassion and joy and hope and grace. And at the same time, we have greed and anger and hostility and jealousy. And we're a mixed bag. So if you want all of that negative known too, no, we can't. Society has created privacy as the foundation stone of a harmonious world. And if we lose that, we will lose the harmony.
What do you think about all these emerging technologies that are now being used by giant companies in the industry? And I'm speaking about, for example, cloud storage or all those data mining technologies.
Yes.
How long will these last as secure technologies? What do you think?
They're not secure. They're not secure now. I mean, you know, I'm here to speak at Brock Pierce's brainchild, D10E, on cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency, people say, well, how secure is Bitcoin? I go, what side do you want to look at? If you want to look at the blockchain, I think it's extremely secure. It's a mathematical principle that allows you to validate with absolute certainty a source and destination for any transaction. That's very powerful. On the other hand, I see people who put wallets on their smartphones. Now something that you may not know is that over half of all smartphones, both iOS and Android, are infected with keystroke logging software. This is a known fact. Every pornography site in the world, if you have ever, I'm sure nobody here has ever looked at pornography, but if you have, if there's a rare exception, then you have keystroke locking software. How do you think they make their money? See, this is the issue. It costs millions of dollars to maintain these massive databases and have the bandwidth to disperse this pornography, and yet you don't pay. Yes, you're paying. The instant you visit the site, if you have an Android, for example, the site runs a JavaScript which sets the download unauthorized application flag. The very first video that you watch, you now, because that's a click-through, you clicked, you did something. You said, yes, oh, good, yes, I'll do that. Downloads, first and foremost, a remote rooting function. If it's an iPhone, a remote jailbreaking program. All can be remotely rooted now. After it's rooted, they download a keylogger, and all this takes just a matter of seconds. And from that point on, somebody is watching every single one of your keystrokes. Now, people pay these pornography sites for the ability to put their keylogging software on your phones. Why? Well, maybe they're a Bitcoin aficionado, and they're going to see, do you have a Bitcoin wallet like Mycelium or what have you? Yes. Well, this is going to hang around until you access it and input your keys or your passwords, and the next day, your wallet's going to be empty. Or maybe you do online banking, all right? You have a password, you have an application. The very first time you've logged into your bank to check your balance or do anything, they go, thank you very much. And the next day, your bank balance will disappear. Now, why has this not happened to you already? Because hackers are not stupid. In order to take something, they have to download additional software. If they only take 400 or 500 people's bank accounts in one day, then the next day, the white hat hackers are going to say, this is how they did it. Everybody, you can protect yourself. No, they're going to wait until one day this year or next year, and 100 million people in one day are going to have your bank accounts eradicated. Zero balance, or your identity will be stolen, or your Bitcoin wallet will be emptied. Or maybe they've been watching your keystrokes to see if, maybe you're saying something to a friend or a lover that maybe could compromise you. Maybe they can blackmail you. If they get lucky, you might be a United States congressman or a senator, in which case, now not only do they have money, they have power. So this is why this is being done. And the Russian cyber mafia and the Chinese cyber mafia are so powerful. They pay literally hundreds of millions of dollars to these pornography sites to allow them to access your smartphone so that at some point they can utilize that. So something to think about. Now, you said, how secure are they? Well, they're not. They're not. Neither the alt currency wallets nor anything else in the cloud. Because what is the cloud? We haven't thought this through, people. The cloud is a place where I'm going to store data. I don't know what computer it's on or even what country it's in. I don't know who is managing it and monitoring it and controlling it. I don't know what type of security facilities you have. I know nothing. And I'm willing to put my valuable data there? No. Why would we do that? Now, if it's something I don't care about, that if you steal it, I don't care. It's a list of books I read. I'll just recreate it from the web. But if it's something that matters, it's like saying, we've all agreed now we have secrets, yes? Well, why don't you let me keep your secrets? Why should you be burdened with having to keep your secrets? I mean, you've got too many stories to tell. Why don't you give it to me and let me manage it for you? Isn't that crazy? And that's what we're doing with our, quote, secret data. That is data we don't want to have stolen from us or taken or accessed. Did I answer your question?
Yes, it did. So as an investor, you wouldn't invest in a company that it's using cloud technologies?
Well, I wouldn't say that, because there are many ways of looking at the cloud, aren't there? I mean, as it exists now, with where we store our data is unknown. And why do we use the cloud? We use it because it makes life easy. I can access my data from anywhere and from any device, on an airplane, my smartphone, my laptop, who cares? Well, you can do the same thing by choosing where you store your data. And there are companies that are offering decentralized cloud services where you create this, they give the software, you say, well, I want my main server in the company to be where I keep all my sensitive things. You might even have your smartphone as a server if it's always turned on. So you get to pick and choose. And you might still use the cloud for some things because not important. It doesn't matter if people steal it or know what's in there. So I'm not saying I wouldn't invest in it. I'm saying that it would have to be a new type of cloud, a cloud that you, as the user, have control over to the extent that you get to choose the location of your data.
Speaking about Bitcoin, what is the most significant value of Bitcoins? What would you say?
Right. I think the most significant value is that it is a new paradigm of money. And it's not going to go away. It's like Pandora's box. We've opened the box. It came out. It's not going away. No matter how much governments would like it to, no matter how problematic it is for banks, it's here to stay and it's growing. And the world will have to learn to adapt to it. If not Bitcoin, then one of some other cryptocurrency, because there's hundreds of them. And I would caution people because many of these new cryptocurrencies are scams. People who say, oh, God, there's a lot of money to be made, let's create our own currency and name it whatever, the McAfee coin. And let's pre-mine 1 million of them and sell them. But please, it's a license to steal. And they do it because people do not understand the technology behind it. And here's some other advice. If you are going to become involved in any kind of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or Ethereum or Monero or whatever, you need to educate yourself. It is easy to lose your money and to become confused. So, and these are problems that will fix themselves. The simplicity, it's difficult now because it's a new technology and we don't have the facilities to keep you, as the owner of the money, from hurting yourself through lack of education. We can build software to take that away. It'll just take time. A year, 2 years, 3 years, that problem will go away. But banks, governments, people who collect taxes from income, it's a problem they're going to have to deal with.